Well, my name is Scott Ryan Paulson. I was born 5'4", 83 in Riverside, California, to a mechanic and a hippie gypsy lady. She was probably the most down-to-earth woman I've ever met. One thing I can remember about my birth is I actually remember being born. I remember seeing a light, and this looked like some type of scrubs or something. It was kind of weird. Most people would be like, "You're full of shit," but I do remember shit like that. And but yeah, I was born at 3 a.m. the witching hour on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. The most the most influential person to me would probably have to be my mother, and of course probably John Kassir, the Crypt Keeper. My mother would always let me sneak into the living room when everybody was sleeping, just because she know that the Tales from the Crypt didn't come on till like late at night on HBO, and yeah, I remember just watching the Crypt Keeper being infatuated with this character. He was so morbid and just kind of creepy, but yet really comforting and inviting. And I will always remember, those times sitting there by myself watching Tales from the Crypt, and that's probably one of the biggest influences besides Kane Hodder when I started watching horror movies as a kid. I could remember watching Kane just this guy in a hockey mask who didn't have to say a damn thing and just captivate you with the suspense, and everything that he was doing at the time in these movies was just something that was something original. And but yeah, I'd have to say John Kassir, Kane Hodder was definitely the most influential people in my life. How would I describe my childhood? It was rough, and but fun. My dad was a mechanic. He was very abusive. My mother had to drown herself in alcohol to dole out the physical abuse and all the mental abuse my father gave off. And my outlet was going to the backyard with my GI Joes and and mimicking voices. I would try to imitate everybody I could that I came in contact with. And my aunt would be like, "Hey, son, what are you doing?" I'm doing okay. She'd get all pissed off, and but yeah, if I was to describe my childhood, it was really rough, but yet it was still fun. How would my parents describe me as a child? Probably if you're talking to them separately, I'm pretty sure my dad would tell you I was a hellion, that I'd be on death row by the time I was 18. And my mom would probably say that I was her little soldier, and that I was a loving, caring, compassionate kid, always infatuated with insects and puppets and voices and but yeah, that's probably how I would assume that they would say how I was as a kid. What was my favorite game as a child? Probably baseball. That and BB gun wars. I remember one year my mom got me and my brother BB guns for Christmas, and said, "Don't you be shooting anything. You guys only shoot cans." And me and my brother, being little crazy ass bastards that we were wanting to play army men. We're like, "Okay, just don't shoot each other in the face. Just aim below the waist, and if I hit you, then you're out." But yeah, that was probably my favorite sports was baseball. I played Little League for almost 7 years of my childhood. I got on the All-Star team the last year I played, so that was kind of a big thing to me. But yeah. What was my nickname as a child? My nickname, my dad called me Cooey, or Von Cooey, and then my mother, she just called me Little Soldier, Tank. What was I afraid of as a child? Nothing, honestly. I mean, the only thing that I was really afraid of was my dad, because, he was the legit boogeyman. Like, honestly, I did a lot of crazy shit when I was a kid, but the only thing that really that I feared personally was my dad, because, he used to beat the shit out of me and my mother. And, my little brother got away with a bunch of shit, and he would, like, we would be playing GI Joes, and if there was a toy that he wasn't playing with and I picked it up and started playing with it, he'd say, "Scott, give it back." And I'd be like, no, what the hell? You ain't even playing with a toy. He would scream and go, ah, Dad, Scott hit me. And my dad would come in and beat my ass. But yeah, that's probably what I was afraid of as a child. Do I have any interesting stories about any relatives of mine? Yeah, actually, well, my grandma is in the Talladega Hall of Fame for NASCAR. She was actually one of the first females to strap up and drive against the guys. Um, Anything other than that? Let's see. Nothing else interesting, really. Well, my uncle Sammy is a famous flat tracker as well, riding motorcycles. Describe my parents. Well, my mother was very down to earth. She was kind of like a hippie gypsy. She always read tarot cards. She'd always tell me, how to read my fortune and how to give off positive energy and how to be positive and love and caring towards people. And but yeah, my mother was what I would say she was righteous. At the end of the day. But my father, if I was to describe my dad, calloused is what I would say. Uh, kind of heartless in a sense, but he was there, for somewhat of my childhood. My mom and him split up and broke up multiple times growing up. I remember my mom having different boyfriends, and it was kind of weird. You know what I mean? I remember one time me and my brother actually ran in on my mom and this guy, and we tried to beat him up. We're like 10 and 11. We're like, let's get this guy. He's in the room with mom right now. But yeah, I mean, my mother was definitely righteous. My father, I'd have to say, calloused. Where did I go to high school? I went to Catalina High School in Tucson, Arizona. And my favorite subject, of course, was theater. Even though all my friends were like skaters and jocks, and I was friends with actually almost every single circle. I was kind of a loner, but I always had friends in all these little circles. So I was constantly, just bebopping around in different groups, but my favorite subject was, of course, history and theater, because I was actually studying to become an archaeologist. I wanted to take up archaeology as soon as I got out of high school. I was going to be working with a museum, and I was going to be shipped to Machu Picchu to examine some of the Mayan temples down there. But yeah, I'd have to say theater definitely captivated me. To act and do something that was totally out of my league to even attempt, and to feel comfortable as soon as I jumped into that pool. With acting, Romeo and Juliet. I did so many things in theater. I played all different types of characters, and a lot of my friends gave me shit. They're like, "Man, you're dressing up in tights again." You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And but yeah, I absolutely loved high school, even though it was kind of my downfall as well, because I had good grades. I was in 11th and 12th grade at the same time. I was in 11th already knocking out 12th grade credits. So I can join the museum and go on time with them to Machu Picchu. And unforeseen circumstances, drugs. I'm not going to sit here and lie on my own documentary, but I started smoking the devil's lettuce. I started taking pills, and that was kind of my downfall in high school. I didn't even get to graduate at that time with my class, and my mother just recently passed away when I was in high school, and it was just an unforeseen thing, and to deal with my mother's death, because she was only the most caring and compassionate person in my life, and it kind of dragged me down, which also got me involved with backyard wrestling that a lot of people remember me as my persona Carnage, wrestling in death matches, Japanese death matches, and I found an outlet in backyard wrestling to vent my frustrations. I got to beat the hell out of people, as well as let them kick my ass, and but also be creative doing it, and it branched off, and we got a contract to make all these backyard wrestling videos all around the world, still sold in malls today. And then once that was a huge success, they ended up making a video game, and they actually took my character from those videotapes and made me the second boss of the Backyard Wrestling Don't Try This at Home video game. And but something came out of that was positive, and even though I didn't even look at it that way at the time, but it was definitely something I'll always remember that came out of that was something positive. My first job I ever had was moving furniture for a living with a company called Grable Van Lines. And it was crazy, man, because like right out of the gate, I was making like $25 an hour just moving stuff in their warehouses. And but yeah, that was my first job ever. What was my best job? Working for myself, running my own company, my own business, Butcher Media. We do advertising, distribution, production for television shows all around the world. And that's one of my favorite things to do, actually, is editing other people's television shows. And that's definitely my favorite job there ever been. What was my worst job? My worst job would probably have to be picking up horse shit and goat shit and chicken shit and cleaning out pens of a farm that we lived next to growing up. I remember my mom said, yeah, this guy over here will pay you some money to go clean all of his stuff out. And I remember going, yeah, money? Cool, I can go buy sneakers and skateboards. And I remember going over there and this guy telling me exactly what I had to do. I was like, oh, man. But yeah, that was probably the worst job, was cleaning pig pens and goats pens and cow pens and horse pens. Definitely sucked picking up shit. Tell you about my career? Well, I've traveled down many roads. I've done everything from voice acting in cartoons to touring musician with the Backwoods Butchers. Everything from professional wrestling. I spent 17 years of my life traveling around the United States and in Mexico, entertaining fans, kind of putting my body on the line to impress the fans and give them their money's worth, and puppeteering is something that I've always loved doing, and I don't really do that for a career, but it does make me money in a sense of, people wanting autographs or shout outs with my puppets, like a cameo, for instance. And then, like I said, my career now, basically doing audio and video production, distribution for other companies and brands, as well as advertising on our television channel, Chop Block TV. You can check it out on Amazon Fire TV and Roku. Hopefully next month we'll be launched on Select TV and Rabbit TV. What is my most significant accomplishment? I'd probably have to say the Backyard Wrestling video game, being recognized worldwide, by certain fan bases anyway, like, of course, the Juggalo community with the Insane Clown Posse. They always, there's not like a day that goes by when a kid hits me up, what's up, Carnage, what's up, man? Like, but personally, I'd have to say being a worldwide known horror host and, being added to the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards, being nominated next to Elvira, Joe Bob Briggs, Sven Gooley. That's probably one of my favorite, best accomplishments that I've done so far. Do I have children? Yes, I have 2 of my own blood children, and I have 6 stepkids from my girlfriend. My goal as a parent, of course, would to be to make sure that they're taken care of until my bones hit the dirt, and basically teach them all the knowledge that I experienced in this life, to just stay in school, graduate, find a good job, take care of yourself, stay the hell away from drugs, and don't get involved with the wrong people, and to just make sure everything's good with them. What is my most memorable traveling experience? Well, I used to travel around the country selling magazines for about 3 years, and we would travel around the United States like multiple times in a span of a year. And one thing I can remember is, I'd have to say my most memorable, I probably have 2 of them. One was going to Reynosa, New Mexico for the first time, snowboarding. I just remember seeing how beautiful it was up there, and how bright it was. We had to wear damn sunglasses on the mountain because of the snow would blind you. But the second one would probably have to be when we went to Brownsville, New Mexico, or Brownsville, Texas, actually. And what we would do is we'd stop right there in Brownsville, and then we'd go into Mexico into a place called Matamoros, Mexico, where you can go over there when you're 18 years old and drink all night long. You pay $20, you get a wristband. And I remember getting just completely shit-faced. And I remember coming out of the club just bobbing and weaving. And I remember, seeing these little kids come up saying, "Chicle, chicle." And I accidentally knocked them over, one of the little kids. And I remember seeing across the street, there was two guys and they were federales. And I remember them coming up to me, "Oh, you're going to pay us money to let you go." I'm like, "What the hell?" And I was sitting there drunk as hell. And good thing my friend came out, because he ended up giving them $20 each and saying, "Piss off," and but yeah, I just remember that, and I was just like, the next day I woke up, I had puke all over me. It was nasty as hell, and just having a hangover from hell. And my buddy's like, "Hey, you owe me $40. I had to pay these cops off so they didn't take you to jail." How do I think people will remember me? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe probably from my wrestling or my horror hosting or just my entertainment in general, I guess. But I honestly don't know how people will remember me. I guess it's up to them for what they ever tuned into, what I ever did, I guess. Who is my biggest fan? I'd probably have to say my daughter. Because every time, she sees me dress up in character or do something, and or if I put my show on TV, she automatically is like, "Dada, dada, dada." Or anytime I point to my mask back there, Slaser Poe, she's constantly like, "Dada, dada," and it just her getting excited, just hearing my entrance music to my TV show is just like probably the most funniest thing ever, but also humbling, and just knowing that she loves what I do, that much to get her that excited. Who am I a bigger fan of? Oh man. Well, I'm really big into like cult movies, like old '70s slasher films. I'm just really big into art, actually. I'm not really into a person, so I couldn't put my finger on that one. But anything like spooky related art, Joel Coleman, and just people who create spooky content, I guess. Like, man, there's just so many people that I could sit here and name right now, but I would just have to say the art is what I'm the biggest fan of. What do I like to do in my spare time? I like to read. I like to watch a little bit of TV when I can. Really stuck on the Bar Rescue or Moonshiners, The Prophet, Shark Tank, stuff like that. I guess but yeah, in my spare time, if I'm not doing that, I'm either researching more about how to enhance my videos, CGI techniques, green screen tips, puppetry, voice acting. I'm constantly coming up with voices for cartoons that I work on as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do in my spare time besides hang out with my daughter and my kids. What was my most embarrassing moment in life? I'd probably have to say this one time me and my brother were going to school, we were walking to the bus, and I had diarrhea, and I farted and I let it go, and next thing I know, I felt something wet dripping down the back of my leg, and I remember telling my brother, I said, "Hey, I have to run back and change my pants, I just shit my pants." He's just like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, hold on, just go to the bus, I'll be there, tell the bus driver I'll be right there." So I ran back home really quick, and my mom's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like I said, I got to put my pants, I need some pants. So I had to go clean up really quick, put some pants on, rush back out, and I'm running towards the bus stop, and I see the bus already there waiting for me. And as soon as I got on the bus, everybody started laughing. Like, ah! And I looked at my brother, and he just started laughing. Like, I was like, "You told everybody I shit my pants?" Like that. It was just the most embarrassing thing ever. If I could possess one superpower, what would it be? Um, Time travel, I guess. Go back in time, fix a few things. You know, say I love you to a few loved ones I never got to meet, or ones I never got a chance to say goodbye to. So yeah, definitely time travel. What is my greatest fear? Oh man. Um, well, you could go with the stereotypical answer like being buried alive or something like that. But I'd probably have to be a little more in depth. I'd probably have to say like leaving my kids earlier than they have time to grow up to. You know what I mean? That would probably be my biggest fear is to die. Before my children are grown. And for them to understand what do I think happens after death. Man, these questions are crazy. I honestly don't know because nobody's ever returned with the info. I mean, I can sit here and speculate all day long about what happens when you die. Either you turn off like a light switch, you just go black, or you magically appear in heaven or hell. I mean, whatever it is, I honestly don't think that far until because I haven't got there. So it's all about here and now and what you do with your time. What is the main lesson I've learned in life? Uh, Probably just having compassion and understanding, I guess. Besides, don't trust anybody. But yeah, just compassion, understanding for your fellow human beings in life. That's probably the biggest thing I've got to experience, as well as just being in touch with humans in general and people. There's all different types of people. Psychology, something that everybody should study up on. Is there anything I would like to add to this biography? Any last words? Yeah. Anything you do, put your 100% into. Don't half-ass anything. Have fun with what you're doing. And just put your all into it. Don't do something that you are going to regret doing or hate doing. If you are hating your job, then know your worth. Invest in yourself and take yourself out of that shitty situation and apply your talents and do something with your life because one of my favorite quotes is from Marcus Aurelius. What we do in life echoes in eternity. And that's something that I will hold on to and I'll always remember. And you should too.